Hello everyone, welcome back to my new video. Sometimes you visit a place thinking you already know what it's like. Maybe you've seen some pictures online, heard a few stories from friends, or watched a couple of travel vlogs. That's exactly how I felt before coming to Malaysia. I thought I had a pretty good idea: tropical weather, good food, nice beaches, and maybe a few big cities like Kuala Lumpur. But the truth? Malaysia blew away my expectations in ways I couldn't even imagine. And then, there's America. The so-called land of opportunity, a place I thought had it all figured out. But looking at it now, let's just say the American dream is starting to look more like the American struggle. From economic issues to crumbling infrastructure, high living costs, and social tensions, it's starting to feel like America is, well, cooked. Today, I'm going to share my honest impressions. Why Malaysia is not what I expected and why America, sadly, is heading in a worrying direction. Malaysia, more than just beaches and skyscrapers. When I first landed in Kuala Lumpur, the capital city, I expected a typical Southeast Asian metropolis, maybe a mix of old colonial buildings and some modern touches. But KL is a full-on powerhouse city. The skyline, dominated by the Petronas Twin Towers, is world-class. The public transport system is modern, clean, and surprisingly efficient. You can hop on an MRT or LRT and get to most parts of the city without breaking the bank. What shocked me most was the blend of cultures. Malay, Chinese, Indian, and indigenous traditions all coexist in a way that's visible in daily life, whether it's in the food, the festivals, or even in casual conversations. You can walk down one street and find a Chinese temple, an Indian temple, and a mosque all within a few blocks of each other. That level of diversity, and harmony, is rare. Affordability in Malaysia versus America's soaring costs. One of the biggest surprises about Malaysia is the cost of living. A meal at a local food stall, say, nasi lemak or char kway teow, can cost as little as $2. Even in mid-range restaurants, you can enjoy a full meal for under $6. Compare that to America, where a basic fast food combo meal can easily hit $12 or more. Housing in Malaysia? Still far cheaper compared to American cities. In Kuala Lumpur, you can rent a modern one-bedroom apartment in the city center for around $500 to $700 a month. In Los Angeles or New York? That's basically what you pay just for a parking spot. The affordability extends to healthcare too. Malaysia's healthcare system is efficient, accessible, and affordable, both public and private. In the US, a single medical emergency can send you into debt for years. This difference alone says a lot about why so many people are reconsidering what quality of life really means. Safety and lifestyle, plus night markets versus nervous walks. In Malaysia, you can walk around night markets at midnight, enjoying satay skewers, fresh fruit juice, and fried snacks without constantly watching your back. Yes, petty crime exists everywhere, but Malaysia feels generally safe for both locals and tourists. In contrast, safety in many American cities has become a growing concern. Rising homelessness, visible drug problems in certain areas, and crime spikes in major urban centers have made people think twice about where they go, even in broad daylight. It's not just about personal safety, it's about a general sense that the social fabric is fraying. America's cost of living crisis. Let's be real, America's economy looks strong on paper, but for the average person, it's a grind. Inflation has hit everyday essentials. Groceries, rent, utilities, and gas prices are all climbing, but wages? They're barely moving. The middle class is shrinking, student debt is crippling millions, and young Americans are finding it nearly impossible to buy homes. Compare that to Malaysia, where even though the salaries are lower in absolute terms, the cost of living is proportionally manageable, and people can still enjoy a decent life without being in debt for decades. Malaysia's food scene versus America's fast food culture. I knew Malaysian food was famous, but I didn't realize just how incredible it would be. Street food here is not just cheap, it's gourmet-level delicious. From roti canai to laksa, satay to banana leaf rice, you could eat out every day and still spend less than your weekly grocery bill in the US. In America, eating out is expensive and often unhealthy. Sure, there are great restaurants, but the culture has shifted heavily toward fast food and ultra-processed meals, largely because they're the most affordable option for many families. The irony? Even the cheap fast food is no longer that cheap. Infrastructure and development, Malaysia's steady rise. Another thing that caught me off guard is how much Malaysia is developing, not in a chaotic rush, but in a steady, calculated way. New highways, clean airports, digital payment systems, and expanding public transit all show that the country is thinking ahead. Meanwhile, America's infrastructure is, well, falling apart in some places. Bridges, roads, and public transit systems in many cities are decades behind on maintenance. The country that once built the interstate highway system now struggles just to fix potholes. Work-life balance, Asia versus the US hustle culture. In Malaysia, there's still a strong value placed on family time and social life. Yes, people work hard, but there's an emphasis on festivals, holidays, and spending time with loved ones. The cultural rhythm includes time to actually live life. In America, hustle culture is glorified, long hours, minimal vacation days, and constant pressure to produce. The idea of taking a long break for Eid, Chinese New Year, or Deepavali. Practically unthinkable in most American workplaces. And when people finally get time off, they're often too exhausted or financially stressed to truly enjoy it. The political and social climate. Malaysia is not perfect, it has its political challenges, and social debates about race, religion, and governance are ongoing. But in recent years, there's been noticeable progress in civic engagement and awareness. In America, political polarization has reached extreme levels. Every election feels like a battle for the country's soul, and everyday issues are turned into political weapons. Social media has amplified divisions, and it feels harder than ever for Americans to agree on even the most basic facts. This constant division weakens the country from within. Why America feels cooked. When people say America is cooked, they're talking about the slow breakdown of the systems that once made the country strong. The education system is underfunded in many areas. Healthcare is outrageously expensive. The housing market is out of reach for younger generations. Public trust in government and media is at historic lows. And on top of that, gun violence remains a constant threat. It's not that America can't recover, it can. But the cracks in the foundation are widening, and many people are realizing that the greatest country in the world is starting to feel like a slogan rather than a reality. Malaysia's promise versus America's decline. Malaysia, for all its flaws, is a country on the rise. Tourism is booming, infrastructure is growing, and the multicultural society is a rich source of creativity and resilience. It's still affordable, still relatively safe, and still welcoming to foreigners. America, on the other hand, seems stuck in a cycle of high costs, political division, and social strain. For decades, people moved to the US for a better life. Now, many are leaving to find it elsewhere. And that should be a wake-up call. Rethinking the good life. Before I came to Malaysia, I thought I had it all figured out. But living here, even for a short time, showed me that the good life is not about flashy brands, huge salaries, or massive houses. It's about balance, community, safety, and affordability. America once had all those things, but somewhere along the way, it lost the balance. The American dream is still possible, but it's harder to reach than ever before. Meanwhile, Malaysia is quietly building its own version of that dream, and it's far more attainable for the average person. So, if you still think Malaysia is just a stopover destination and America is still the ultimate goal, maybe it's time to flip that thinking. Because Malaysia is not what I expected, it's better. And America? Unless it changes course, it might just stay cooked.